If you watched yesterday, and I saw this last night, some of the video from the Democratic lawmakers who were giving emotional and harrowing testimony on the House floor yesterday in describing their experiences during the violence that Trump promoted and the bully boys, the brown shirts, the dirty, rotten son of a bitches who wander around with their teeny penises and their huge guns, the siege of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. And these lawmakers gave this testimony in an effort to personalize what really happened. Did it have an effect on whatever Republicans were in the House listening? Hell no. They don't care. There's something I have come to realize, that these white Christian Republicans have absolutely zero ability to empathize. And that's part of their religion. They don't have to do shit, because they'll tell you that their slaughter boy, Jesus of Nazareth, paid the ultimate price by hanging on the cross. So they don't have to do shit. They don't have to forgive, forget, accept, have empathy, sympathy, nothing. It's all been done for them. You slimy creeps. Anyway, not a bit of sympathy or empathy, nothing. If I were watching a science fiction or fantasy film about a race of people on this planet who were engineered so as to have no ability to empathize or sympathize with their fellow creatures, this is what I would be watching, what's going on in the Christian Fascist Party. It's just so strange to see this. I mean, it really is. It's one thing over the past 40 or 50 years to watch Republicans not give a shit about people of color or people struggling to make ends meet or poor folks or students. Okay, that's part of being a filthy, stinking Republican. But what they are doing now with this Christian fascism takeover of the Republican Party is just unconscionable. It's unbelievable. But very believable given their religious preferences. Man, I'll tell you, if their so-called Messiah was really existed, first of all, if that creature existed and saw what was going on, are you kidding me? A real God? I mean, the Greek gods used to hurl goddamn thunderbolts at people who fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they didn't mess around. The Roman gods, the Greek gods, Hindu gods, when they got pissed off, they just go after the human being and rip the son of a bitch into a million pieces. That's the end of that problem, right? But these Christian fascists, there's no consequence for anything at all. So they continue to do the dirty, filthy stuff that they've been doing. But I digress. Anyway, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, who helped organize these testimonials, along with the help from the Congressional Progressive Caucus, she blasted those who demanded that lawmakers move on from the insurrection, in her words, quote, with little to no accountability for the bloodshed and trauma of the 6th, end quote. By the way, this was reported by Amy Wang and Colby Ickowitz in the Washington Post today, or yesterday. I guess today. I don't know. Who cares? That's where I found the story. Just for attribution. Okay? Okay. Ocasio-Cortez said this, quote, in doing so, they not only... in doing so, what she means is taking no responsibility or taking no accountability for what happened. In doing so, they not only further harm those who were there that day, and they, in addition to providing cover for those responsible, but they also send a tremendously damaging message to survivors of trauma all across this country that the way to deal with trauma, violence, and targeting is to paper it over, minimize it, and move on. 29 days ago, Ocasio-Cortez went on, our nation's capital was attacked. That is the big story. And in that big story reside thousands of individual accounts just as valid and as important as the other. End quote. Now, she makes a very important point in accepting no responsibility for what happened and no accountability for these Republicans who voted after the insurrection and the murders to not certify Joe Biden's presidency. In doing that, as Ocasio-Cortez points out, they send a tremendously damaging message to survivors of all sorts of trauma all over the country. That the way to deal with people are suffering with, whether it is spousal violence or bullying against teenagers to the point where they start cutting themselves or committing suicide, or the way we treat poor people or people of color. No consequences. What's the message? It's a message that is so damaging because it says, well, you're not worth the effort. You don't matter. Oh, you're being beaten at home? Tough shit. Live with it. Oh, you're being bullied at school or bullied over the internet? Too bad, sweetie. Deal with it. We just had a case here in Atlanta, another child suicide. Middle schooler whose final message was that she just couldn't take the bullying anymore. Cyberbullying. 14-year-old hanged herself. This is what the Christian fascists are promoting across the country. No empathy, no sympathy, no accountability, no responsibility, nothing. Just their twisted, sick, blood cult lust for power, and that's it. Oh, I wish Jesus were real. I wish the Abrahamic God were real. Because he would take his terrible swift sword and puncture these son of a bitches, these Christian fascists. Oh, at least I think he would. Anyway, for over an hour, Ocasio-Cortez and others shared these memories of what they had endured on January 6th when that mob, that Trump mob of filth, scum, garbage, human walking garbage overran the Capitol grounds in that violence that left 5 people dead and 2 people subsequently committing suicide. You cowardly, dirty son of a bitches, you. Not the suicides, the rioters, the scum, the human garbage. And if you saw any of it yesterday, one of those killed, police officer Brian Sicknick at the Capitol Police was laid to rest, Arlington National Cemetery, after lying in honor in the Capitol Rotunda Wednesday night. And it's my understanding, I don't know where this came from, it just showed up on one of my social media accounts, that Officer Sicknick, in fact, was a Trump supporter. I don't know that to be true. I have no way of verifying it or disputing it. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat of Texas, recalled another time she had to flee the Capitol on September 11, 2001. That's when she could see smoke from the plane that hit the Pentagon. And this time, Representative Lee said she could hear shooting on January 6th and the attack coming from the Senate side. Congresswoman Lee said that when she paid respects to Sicknick Wednesday night, she said she thought of how many other police officers are still in hospitals or still suffering from defending the Capitol that day. The scores of them, it's my understanding. None of that shit comes out right away, but it's coming out now. Understand there's a couple police officers who are going to lose their eyesight because of the damage these cowardly white scum walking garbage heaps did to them? Sheila Jackson Lee said, quote, "We must get to the bottom of this. We cannot let white supremacy dominate the goodness of what this democracy and this Constitution stands for." She added, quote, "I'm here on the floor to say that we shall not be denied. We are never going to give up our love for democracy nor its vitality, nor are we going to let this country be dominated by the insurrectionists who came to this place to do nothing but act in a bloodthirsty manner. We are not afraid of you." End quote, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. What did she leave out? What did all of them leave out of their fervent, their poignant pleas for understanding, compassion, empathy, and justice? What did they leave out? They left out that this was committed by Christian fascists, Christian terrorists. You saw the video of those assholes standing at the speaker's seat or the president of the Senate with their arms raised in that sickening little gesture that they do. "Oh, Jesus, please hear me." You've seen these crazy fuckers in their churches where they're waving their arms up in the air. What are you trying to do? Get your God's attention? Oh, that'll work. But there they were standing in the well of the Senate, waving their arms and doing their dumb goddamn prayers to nobody, nothing, to the ceiling. And no compassion at all for the people that they were hunting. And that's what they were doing. While they're praying to their bloodthirsty, violent, filthy God, they're taking their long guns and trying to find people to kill and their ropes to try to find people to hang. Fuck you, insurrectionists. You are a sick mass of filth. And so's your stinking religion. Representative Dean Phillips of Minnesota described how he screamed to his Democratic colleagues to get over to the Republican side of the chamber. And his words, blend in. I mean, they're all white. So maybe they could blend in. They could pretend like, well, I'm a Republican. Please don't kill me. Oh, my God. Dean Phillips talked about how some of them believed that their lives might be spared if the rioters thought they were Republicans. But then he said he realized that his colleagues of color couldn't blend in on the Republican side of the room like he could. And this is where white privilege really clicks in. And this is what Dean Phillips, representative from Minnesota, said. And I want my black brothers and sisters listening to this program, this podcast, to hear what this man said. This is what he said, quote, "I'm here tonight to say to my brothers and sisters in Congress and all around our country, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, for I had never really understood what white privilege really means. It took a violent mob of insurrectionists and a lightning bolt moment in this very room, but now I know, believe me, I really know," end quote. I wonder, I hope, that a lot of my white brothers and sisters came to that same conclusion from watching what happened on January 6th after a summer of demonstrations in the streets organized by Black Lives Matter, demanding justice, and then to see these white filth, this walking mounds of garbage, storming into the chambers of the House and the Senate, looking for people to fucking kill. And now we have a few white people are saying, holy shit, I finally get it. I hope that has happened for a lot of white people this year, over the past 10, 11, 12 months. And I hope that my black brothers and sisters will please give us white folks a chance. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.